Most people will never taste the freedom they secretly crave, not because the world has conspired against them, not because opportunity is rare, but because they silently accept a life designed by other people. Look around. Cities lit by ambition, skyscrapers built from ideas that once lived only in a dreamer's mind. Every bridge, every fortune, every innovation began as a thought no one else believed in. Yet the majority shuffle through each day as if their thoughts are powerless, as if destiny is a lottery instead of a discipline. Understand this truth. Wealth begins in the mind long before it appears in the bank. The poor man waits for proof. The rich creator moves on conviction. Andrew Carnegie was a penniless immigrant boy who decided he would dominate steel. Henry Ford envisioned a car for the common man when automobiles were toys for the elite. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times to trap light in glass. They were not magicians. They were not lucky. They were people who refused to let ordinary thinking chain an extraordinary idea. Failure to get rich is rarely about the economy, your education, or the family you were born into. It is the quiet tragedy of a mind that will not claim its own power. Most people fail because they drift, drifting from job to job, distraction to distraction, waiting for someone else to hand them a mission. They talk about someday, while their best years dissolve like mist. But you are not most people. You would not be listening if some part of you didn't already suspect the truth. Your thoughts are creative forces. What you hold with intensity, you magnetize. What you dwell on with clarity and desire becomes blueprint and brick, company and empire. Wealth is not only dollars. It is the command of your own destiny, the ability to live by design instead of default. Money simply follows a person who has mastered the invisible laws of thought, decision, and relentless action. Yet the first obstacle is belief. If you believe wealth belongs to others, you will unconsciously sabotage every chance to create it. If you believe money is evil, you will repel it even as you chase it. The universe mirrors the mind. Plant doubt, reap limitation. Plant certainty, reap opportunity. Picture a farmer with two seeds, one of corn, one of nightshade. The soil returns whatever he plants. It does not judge. Your mind is that soil. Plant visions of abundance, discipline, courage, and that is what grows. Plant fear, envy, resignation, and that is your harvest. Decide now, not later. Decision is the door to fortune. Indecision is the silent thief that robs more dreams than failure ever could. Consider this. Every fortune, every great movement in history began when one individual burned the bridge to mediocrity. Hernan Cortez scuttled his ships so his men could not retreat. Carnegie chose a singular aim, steel, and poured all energy into it. You must do the same. Choose, commit, burn the escape routes back to a normal life. The moment you decide, the world rearranges itself around your intention. You will meet allies you could not imagine. You will face trials that forge resilience. Doors will open that once seemed locked. This is not mysticism. It is the practical magnetism of a focused mind. But decision without discipline is fantasy. Discipline is wealth's silent partner. Rise early when comfort calls you to sleep. Invest when fear tells you to hoard. Study while others are entertained. The habits of greatness are not glamorous. They are relentless. Think of Edison again, testing filament after filament, mocked by experts who claimed the electric light was impossible. Discipline turned ridicule into radiance. You must be just as unyielding. The road will not flatter you. It will demand your transformation. And understand, riches demand value. You cannot merely wish to be rich. You must become someone whose ideas, services, or leadership solve real problems for real people. Money flows to value like water to gravity. Stop asking how to get rich. Start asking how to become invaluable. This is where most fail. They chase money instead of mastery. They look for shortcuts instead of skills. They hope for luck instead of learning. But you are different. You can decide here and now to reject the habits of the crowd and build the mind of a creator. Do not confuse activity with progress. Most people stay busy to avoid the terror of honest self-examination. They race through errands, scroll through screens, drown in meetings, yet wonder why nothing in their life compounds. Movement without direction is the treadmill of poverty. Clarity is the antidote. Ask yourself with ruthless honesty, what do I truly want? Not what pleases others, not what fits a resume. What vision would make you rise before dawn with fire in your chest? Until you answer, you drift. And drifting is death to wealth. Napoleon Hill wrote of a definiteness of purpose. But these are not old words in a dusty book. They are the difference between empire and obscurity. Carnegie did not kind of want to dominate steel. Ford did not sort of dream of the assembly line. Their aims were as sharp as a blade, and that blade cut through every obstacle. Write your vision, speak it aloud, breathe it until it becomes the air you move through. Vagueness breeds hesitation, and hesitation kills opportunity. Once your purpose stands clear, you must build the inner fortress that protects it. Faith. Faith is not passive. massive hope. It is the discipline of seeing the invisible and acting as though it is inevitable. Think of Walt Disney, fired by a newspaper editor for lacking imagination. He wandered with nothing but sketches and a dream of a kingdom of wonder. Faith carried him through bankruptcy, rejection, and ridicule until the world finally caught up with the castle he already saw. Your faith will be tested. Count on it. The world does not hand over its treasures without demanding proof of your resolve. Expect nights when the bank account shrinks, when allies vanish, when the goal seems a mirage. These moments are the crucible where the rich are minted, most turn back, the few advance. And when you advance, cultivate gratitude, not the polite kind whispered at dinner, but the fierce gratitude that sharpens your focus. Gratitude is not weakness. It is a frequency that draws more to be grateful for. Carnegie thanked every challenge for the muscle it built. Edison thanked each failure for the lesson it taught. Gratitude transforms setbacks into stepping stones. Now we arrive at a realm where wealth truly multiplies. Relentless action. Ideas are seeds. Action is sunlight. Without it, the richest thought dies in the dark. Action is not grand drama. It is the steady grind of daily disciplines. Reading when you'd rather rest. Learning the craft when others sleep. Sending one more proposal after the 20th rejection. Every phone call, every page, every hour invested compounds like interest. Remember, fortune rewards speed, but only after preparation. Do not wait for the perfect moment. It does not exist. The perfect moment is forged by moving while others hesitate. Adaptability keeps you alive as you move. The market changes. Technology rewrites rules overnight. Rigid minds break. Flexible minds bend and build again. Henry Ford once said, "Failure is only the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently." He reinvented processes repeatedly, refusing to let pride freeze progress. And resilience. Resilience is the heartbeat of wealth. You will be misunderstood. You will be mocked. You will fail in public. But those who rise again become unbreakable. Lincoln lost election after election before stepping into the presidency that reshaped a nation. Every defeat was merely the forge for his final victory. This is the pattern. Vision, faith, gratitude, action, adaptability, resilience. Miss one link and the chain snaps. But know this, money is the shadow. Character is the substance. Build the character that money must follow. A mind disciplined, a purpose unshakable, a spirit grateful. These attract wealth because they create value the world cannot ignore. As you hear these words, the average person is surrendering to distraction. They will spend tonight chasing entertainment, tomorrow repeating yesterday, and the next decade wondering where their potential went. That is the silent epidemic. Lives unlived, dreams deferred until the soul grows numb. Refuse that fate. Refuse the slow death of drifting. Refuse to trade your destiny for comfort. Choose instead to master your mind, to declare your purpose, to act with urgency, to adapt with courage. The moment you accept total responsibility, you seize total power. The world is waiting, not to give you permission, but to respond to your decision. Responsibility is the pivot on which every fortune turns. When you stop blaming the economy, your boss, your upbringing, the government, when you claim every result as your own creation, you unlock a force most never touch. Responsibility is freedom disguised as burden. It means you can change anything because you created everything. The masses hand that power away. They say the market is bad, or I wasn't born rich, or someone should fix this. But the architect of wealth looks inward. You are both the problem and the solution, the obstacle and the bridge. Accept this, and the world can no longer chain you. Once responsibility is yours, discipline becomes your weapon. Discipline is not punishment. It is the highest form of self-respect. It is a promise to your future self that today's comfort will not rob tomorrow's greatness. Think of the Spartan warriors who trained in brutal silence, who honed their bodies and minds until fear itself bowed to their resolve. Wealth demands a similar ferocity, not of violence, but of consistency. Wake before the sun. Guard your attention like a fortress. Feed your mind with a fuel of books, mentors, and experiences that sharpen your edge. The undisciplined are forever at the mercy of moods. The disciplined move whether inspired or not. Inspiration is a spark. Discipline is the engine. But discipline without imagination is a cage. To create wealth, you must see beyond the obvious, to envision what does not yet exist. Albert Einstein called imagination the preview of life's coming attractions. Before every technological revolution, flight, electricity, the internet, there was someone willing to imagine what others called impossible. Your imagination is not child's play. It is the architect's blueprint. Picture the life you crave with such detail that your senses begin to believe it is already real. The scent of the office you built, the echo of your voice in the hall of your company, the weight of the pen signing deals that shape industries. When the mind believes, the body follows. And yet, imagination without courage is a dream that dies quietly. Courage is the bridge between thought and reality. It is the decision willing to leap before every condition is perfect, to risk the ridicule of the crowd for the reward of your calling. History bows to the courageous. The Wright brothers faced experts who swore human flight violated natural law. Rosa Parks refused a seat of shame, igniting a movement. These acts of courage were not reckless. They were inevitable for those who refused mediocrity. Courage will not feel comfortable. Your heart will race. Doubt will whisper. Leap anyway. Wealth favors those who act, while fear is loudest. As you advance, remember the unseen force that multiplies every effort. Association. You become the average of the people you allow into your circle. This is not cliche. It is mathematics of the mind. Their habits, their expectations, the conversations program your destiny. Andrew Carnegie surrounded himself with thinkers who challenged and inspired him. What Hill called a mastermind. You must do the same. Seek allies who demand excellence, who see your potential even when you stumble. Distance yourself, lovingly but firmly, from those who drain ambition. This is not cruelty. It is necessity. A single negative voice can unravel a year of progress. Guard your environment as fiercely as your ideas. And while you guard your circle, guard your inner dialogue with equal vigilance. The words you speak to yourself are commands to the subconscious. Tell yourself you are unlucky, and you will overlook every door that opens. Tell yourself you are a builder of value, and your mind will hunt opportunities in every shadow. Affirmation is not empty chanting. It is mental programming. Edison spoke of light long before the world saw a filament glow. Ford declared he would build a car for the masses when experts mocked the dream. Speak your destiny until silence itself begins to echo it back. Now understand this critical truth. Wealth without purpose is poverty in disguise. Money is a magnifier. It will not fill the hollow places. It will amplify them. If you are small, selfish, or bitter, riches will only broadcast that emptiness. But if you are driven by service, by a desire to solve real problems, uplift lives, advance humanity, money becomes a force for good that multiplies endlessly. Purpose is the compass that keeps you from the cliffs of greed. It turns ambition into legacy. Carnegie built libraries. Ford revolutionized industry. Oprah built platforms for voices once unheard. Their fortunes outlived them because their purpose outshone mere profit. So as you climb, keep asking, who am I becoming? Not just, what am I earning? The true victory is becoming a person so valuable, so visionary, that wealth becomes an inevitable side effect. Legacy begins the moment you realize that riches are not something you chase. They are something you attract by the person you become. A fortune gained without inner growth is a fortune destined to vanish. History proves it. Lottery winners broke and bitter. Empires crumbling because the character of their builders never matched the size of their wealth. So build the foundation first. Integrity. Integrity is wealth you can never lose. It is doing what you promise when no one is watching. Keeping your word when it costs you. Delivering value because it is right, not merely profitable. The market may shift, competitors may rise, trends may fade, but integrity compounds. It magnetizes partners, investors, and opportunities in ways no marketing budget can. Think of Abraham Lincoln, who endured ridicule and defeat, yet refused to compromise the principles of unity and freedom. His wealth was not measured in coins, but in the permanence of his impact. Money followed that level of character, as it always does. But character alone is not enough. You must wield time as a master craftsman wields his tools. Next, time is the only currency more valuable than gold, and most people squander it with reckless abandon. They treat hours as if more will always appear, yet beg for freedom as though they have none. Wealthy minds see time differently. They invest it, they audit it, they refuse to trade it for tasks that do not multiply. Andrew Carnegie once said, "The man who acquires the ability to take full possession of his own mind may take possession of anything else to which he is justly entitled." To possess your mind is to possess your time. Audit your days. Track every hour until you confront the truth. Are you creating or consuming? Are you building assets or feeding distractions? The calendar never lies. If you do not direct your hours, someone else will. And with time mastered, cultivate the art of relentless learning. The marketplace pays in proportion to the problems you can solve. When you stop learning, your value plateaus, and so does your income. Thomas Edison read voraciously and experimented obsessively, even after he was world famous. Warren Buffett spends most of his waking hours reading and thinking, sharpening an already legendary mind. The world belongs to those humble enough to remain students. Learning today is not confined to schools or degrees. It is an endless apprenticeship to life itself. Books, mentors, failures, experiments. Every mistake is tuition. Every success is a thesis. The only real failure is refusing the lesson. Now, understand this paradox. To grow rich, you must give, not from scarcity or guilt, but from a recognition that value serves circulates. Money is energy. It moves toward those who move it. The tight-fisted horde, afraid to invest, and wonder why their wealth stagnates. The wise deploy capital, ideas, and generosity, and watch abundance flow back multiplied. Carnegie funded libraries across continents, seeding knowledge for generations. Modern visionaries invest in startups, education, and community, expanding opportunity for countless others. Giving is not charity alone. It is strategy. It declares to the universe that you trust in infinite supply. But giving must be paired with discernment. Do not scatter your effort or your capital where it breeds dependency or mediocrity. Invest where it ignites growth, in people, projects, and causes that elevate humanity and return value in ways money alone cannot measure. As you practice these principles, integrity, mastery of time, relentless learning, and purposeful giving, expect resistance. The world often tests those who dare to rise. Friends may misinterpret your focus as arrogance. Family may question your risk. Society rewards conformity and punishes those who outgrow the script. Yet every legendary creator has endured this crucible. When Ford unveiled the Model T, competitors scoffed and critics jeered. When Steve Jobs returned to Apple after exile, analysts predicted failure. When Oprah launched a network in her own name, even allies whispered that she had reached too far. Still, they advanced, not because the path was smooth, but because their vision burned hotter than the doubt surrounding them. And when the noise grows loud, return to the stillness within. Daily silence, meditation, reflection, prayer, whatever name you give it, is where power regenerates. It is in silence that ideas crystallize, that courage refuels, that gratitude expands. Without this inward retreat, ambition burns itself to ashes. So guard your mind, feed it greatness, starve it of gossip, negativity, and the small talk of the defeated. A mind protected is a fortune protected. Now, as these truths settle into you, feel the shift. Wealth is no longer a distant mountain. It is a landscape you are already crossing. Each decision, each disciplined hour, each courageous act is a step upward. Others will watch from the valley, saying you were lucky. They will never see the nights of sacrifice, the mornings of resolve, the thousand quiet choices that build a momentum. But you will know. You will feel the quiet satisfaction of someone who refused the fate of the masses. This is how you break the cycle. This is how you refuse the destiny of the ordinary. You rise, mind sharpened, purpose aflame, actions aligned, until riches become not a goal, but a natural reflection of the person you have become.